students, good day. Welcome to another Nstp 2 lecture series part 2. I am your instructor, Zania Marie Vidal-Yamyo. I will discuss Unit 2 of your Nstp module entitled Understanding the Concepts and Principles of Community Immersion. For your specific learning outcome, at the end of this unit, you are expected to analyze cases on community involvement and evaluate the cases following principles of Nstp based on community scenarios. To enable the trainees to have a good grasp of the local situation, one must be knowledgeable on the basics of community, such as its concepts, principles, the nature of the problem, and the issues arising therefrom. To properly carry out immersion projects and activities, one must be prepared to respond to the concerns of the community. So let us learn first what is a community. A noted community development specialist, Arline Johnson, once wrote that community refers to a group of people gathered together in any geographic area, large or small, who have common interests, actual or potentially recognized in the social welfare field. To paraphrase, a community is a collective of people with similar interests and goals, whether living in the same geographical locality or not. So the meaning of community actually depends on the objectives of a program to be conducted thereat. As per concept, a community may be categorized as geographical or functional. So for geographical community, this is based on their location, such as your village, town, neighborhood, district, or territory. For functional community, this is based on whether they have the same interests or goals. Another category of a community are the urban, suburban, and rural communities. As we all know, rural community refers to as the countryside, while the urban community is one that is in a city or a town where lots of people live, and there are also lots of different kinds of buildings. For the suburban, that is just outside the city or town. However, a certain type of community has recently emerged. Some refer to it as just social movements, but its definition points out that it surfaced out of the two community. So it is called a relevant community that defines a group of people having similar interests in changing institutions to their advantage in order to achieve redistribution of resources. Basically, their purpose as a community is geared towards organization of the poor. So what are the elements of a community? Some projects implemented in the community can be based on the elements. Okay, we have here the demographics, history, culture, economy, and structure. So for example, if your project is about providing livelihood to a certain community, then that can be targeted under the element of economy. So if you notice that a certain community has low income earners, then you can provide lectures that would help them increase their income. So another example is if you will target the population of the youth. If you notice that there are many out of the school youth in a certain community, you can make a project based on that demographic. Okay, so why is immersion an important approach in giving service to the communities? Going through the immersion process and conducting community service activities or projects will enable the trainees to understand how the people feel, think, say, and behave as dictated by their conditions and situation in life, as means to make, feel, and realize that they are not more fortunate than many others, and that the students can do something to improve the lives of the marginalized and underserved. So the immersion process will help students gain experience that would teach them what is it like to belong to the marginalized and underserved communities. Students have been given the rare opportunity and the distinct privilege of being schooled that they are supposed to be better or to better the living conditions of those whom we are not auspicious as they are. So this is an opportunity for you to at least contribute to a community and make it better. Through community immersion, trainees will be exposed in further and other realities of life which they may or may not belong. So this is an eye-opening experience for you to see what communities are like. So we will go outside of the comforts of our home and see what living condition our community people has been living. So what is the relevance of the immersion part of the Nstp, and why? Would trainees need to study the behavior of the people and that which compose the community which they serve? So do trainees have to study their behavior in order for them to learn from the community? So as trainees, young as they are and capable of responding to the stringent requirements of community building and meeting the skills and knowledge criteria of transforming communities, they are mandated under the Nstp Act of 2001, in which the government may require each citizen to render personal, military, or civil services. So we fall under this category, the civil service. So through Nstp, you are able to provide civil service to the community. Trainees are believed to possess the qualities and energies that, if properly channeled and directed, will yield result towards arresting, if not totally annihilating, the innumerable dilemmas of men. So this is an opportunity for you to provide solutions to the problems of our community. From the words of our national hero, Dr. Jose P. Rizal, the youth is the hope of the fatherland. Indeed, the youth plays an important role in nation building. Immersion is just one of the strategies in plunging into community organization, a strategy in which students may be socially aware and responsible to their communities. This manner of transformation is bent on training the youth to becoming civic conscious and defense-prepared individuals. In view of the fact that immersion is a major concern in the development work, trainees may find it significant to be guided by the following precepts. Trainees should immerse in actual community so that they may be aware of the social, political, and economic situation of the people. Trainees should identify community people's interest and aspiration. They must also recognize people's resiliency and does not rob them of the right to have community participation and determination of appropriate course of action. Trainees should be aware of the gain negotiated sanction, the acceptance derived from community relations, coupled with the right to conduct immersion activities. They must reflect on how their social analysis of the current situation is concretized in community people's lives. The trainees may also undergo certain changes like increase in knowledge about the social realities, development of social skills, among others. So basically, the community gains something from the trainees, and the trainees in return undergoes a transformation from themselves. So the following are the forms of integration in community immersion. From the word itself, immersion, we must immerse ourselves into this community. So we have to integrate, become part of a community. So these are the ways. So we have the home visit. Before COVID-19, we do assessments. So before we conduct our projects, we assess the living conditions of a certain community or a household, and we identify their aspirations, their needs, their problems and issues through home visit. Okay. Also, these are another way to integrate into the community, in which we will live with selected families, preferably with key informants. So this is not applicable in our project implementation. And then next is informal discussions with individuals or groups. So after, even if we have our assessment, there will be a certain time that we will go to the barangay hall and talk to the barangay captain and or its constituents. Then they can discuss projects that they prefer to implement in their community. Okay. Next is sharing in household and community activities. So in project implementation, we make sure that the community people are involved. Okay. We just do not go to a community and give projects, but we make sure that we empower the community people. Then attendance in social gatherings. There are times that a community may have a meeting and they will invite students so that they can participate and gather information on what appropriate project they want to implement. Then assistance in production work. So there are also projects that are existing already. So the students can incorporate or integrate themselves to the existing project of the community so that they can contribute to the proposed project already. Okay, so what do you immerse within the community? So, I'm sorry, whom do you immerse with in the community? So, there are parents, youth, constituents, professionals, members of people's organizations. So you can involve a lot of people when you implement your project. But in our case, since we follow the protocols, we have protocols to follow, then the involvement of other individuals are limited. So we just focus on projects that we can implement by ourselves and without creating a crowd or involving so many people. But before COVID, we can organize different individuals in the community for us to implement our project. Okay, so what personal gains may a student get from community immersion? So comment down below your answers. That will serve as your attendance. Okay, so that ends our first part of our lecture series. Thank you.